Hey everybody, GL1 here, and I want to go on a little trip through memory lane with my Shogun Warriors. Now, this is what I have left from 1978 of my Shogun Warrior collection, and some special things have been done with these. But back when I was a kid, I did have this Godzilla. Now, this is part of the Shogun Warrior collection. It's almost 2 feet tall. It had a fist that shot off. It always bothered me, why would Godzilla have a fist that would actually shoot off? He's not a robot, and now he has no hand. And it had a little trigger in the back, and it had like flames that would lick out that were on a spring. Well, I saved that, and one of the arms, I believe this arm, came off, and I saved the arm and the Godzilla for many years, knowing that eventually I would get smart enough to fix it. And well, my dad saw it many years later and thought, well, it's broken, it's trash, and he threw it away. So yeah, now it would cost $400 to replace. So that stinks. The other thing that I always wanted and couldn't get was the big 2 foot tall Shogun Warriors. This is Raider and this is Dragon. And I got these instead. I think my uncle got me those. But there was a 2 foot tall version of Dragon. I don't think there was of Raider. But anyhow, you can see that's $767 now. So that's not going to ever happen. But here's what I have. So I have taken care of these all these years. And this is Raider. And, his head turns. But this is a feature here that I always thought was cool. They're metal, largely. This is plastic. This is plastic. And when you move the legs, the other leg moves opposite. So it's like he's walking. And, he has a jetpack wing on his back. And I've exchanged them before. And in order to, I liked the jetpack better. And in order to exchange it, when I was a kid, Dragon had a piece that went up over his shoulders. Actually, you can see this in the picture on the larger version. You see it went up over. Well, it wouldn't switch that way, so I cut it with scissors back then. And, well, of course, now that's not mint, right? But he has other problems that I had to fix, too, and I'll go into that. I lost some of the accessories with Raider. I'll show you what those are. Okay, so on this picture of Raider, you see you get a drill arm, and it had these red missiles and then like a fan that went around the shooting part, the rocket launcher. Well, I lost, I don't know where that piece is. It's actually possible I have it, and I just don't recognize it anymore, where it's been. I'd have to look. But what I do have instead is I have this drill bit, which is a missile, and I think this goes to Micronauts, actually. And it will fit in here just fine. It's smaller, but it fits. And I have this as well. So you can do this, right? It's like a laser arm, or it fits in here. So the firing mechanism for this is gone, and so is the little fan. I don't know what happened, if the spring got loose and came out and then I lost the trigger. But anyway, that's what I have left of Raider. And I think, just something like this, looks good enough. All right, so that's Raider. Now, this Godzilla I've taken care of, this rubber Godzilla, that's the same scale. And so it goes back to 1978 as well, so it probably was meant to, mimic that large Godzilla. It used to have it has one of those wires in it, and it used to go into the mouth and you could close it, but the wires break after a while, and they also rip through the rubber. As if any of you have ever had one of these, they eventually rip through. You see these little holes in it? Those are little air pockets for the metal wire inside. And the tail, still the metal wire works. But I knew early on, don't move things very much or they'll get damaged. And I ended up using shoe goo to help repair the arms where the rubber had ripped. For years, I took stick pins and I just stuck it in his arms, holding it together. Again, thinking that one day I will have the right glue that will glue this, because I tried contact cement and that didn't work, and I tried rubber glue and that didn't work. So shoe glue seems to have worked pretty well, but you can't move the arms a whole lot. All right, now we're going to get to the one I thought was really cool, was Dragon. And Dragon had a really unique problem. So now this arm is still works great. So it came with a couple of axes, and it fires the axe. It still fires quite well. But this arm is different, and what it had was a spring inside the arm itself, and then you would depress this, and that's going to release that little trigger, and then the arm would fly off, much like the old Godzilla. All right, so that still works, but there's an interesting story about this. You see this sword? This did not come with the toy, just the axes, and this little aluminum, well, it looks like a paddle, and someone made these for me. What happened is, here's how you release this. You push this down, and then I'm going to actually open this and show you how it works. But you push that down, and there's a little clamping mechanism inside that can hold on to this. And you see, what happened is this arm was lost. And I've a friend who has a friend who manufactures things. And so what he did is he took this arm and he made a mirror of it to replace the missing arm. So you'll see actually the fingers are headed in the wrong direction. You see that? But he was able to manufacture a plastic arm that will work, that will fire off. And he made the trigger mechanism and everything in there. And then he also made this sword and this paddle weapon. And he made it with, you see the detail on these little nubs, so that this clamping mechanism would hold it in place. So you have to push it in, push that trigger in, and then push that in, and then it locks it in. So pretty neat. And this is made out of aluminum as well. All right, so he made it so that you can open it, and I'm going to do that. All right, so you just need a flathead screwdriver that's thin enough. Now there's 2 springs in this, so I want to not lose those. But what's kind of, maybe you've never opened up something like this, and so you might be interested to see how the springs are positioned in there. Let's see if that's enough. Okay. So the trigger mechanism that holds the sword, you see it has a little sphere in there, and then this pushes in and out. There's a little spring in there. And so it's out of position to hold the sword, and when you push it down, it lines it up so that you can push the sword. I'll show you that. Okay. So when you push the sword in, you're going to push that. You would push that down, and then that would go into that insert in there, and then it would come up, and then that would hold it in place against the other side of the hand. So that would that's how that mechanism for holding the sword works. And then in the firing the arm off, there's a spring. And this spring, you see there's a little tiny, let me see if I can point to it. There's a little tiny depression right here. Not really that great. I might have to drill a little more thorough hole. This spring, I don't know if this can be seen that well, has a little piece that hangs off there, little like a pin. And then you got to get that to pin in to that little depression, and that holds the spring in place. And I think miraculously I dropped it right in the right place. And then that's how that goes back together. And then just screw that back together here. So I didn't get it in. Okay. But anyway, I'll work on that after. But anyway, that's how that works. So Dragon has the same feature where you pull the one leg and then the other moves. And I always thought that was really intriguing. And these are metal, so it's just great. They're heavy, and they're expensive now to get. These are over 100, so they're really not, reasonably attainable in some ways, because that's kind of a lot of money for something like this. But at least I have it here to show you. So hope you enjoyed that quick little show, and I look forward to seeing you later. Take care.